네, 그럼 지금부터 우리 학술대회의 오후 세션을 시작하겠습니다. 이번 발표는 기념 강연으로서 안창남 고국방문 비행 100주년을 기념하여 매우 특별한 분들을 모셨습니다. 대만 최초의 비행사 슈에 웬다 그리고 안창남과의 우정에 대한 주제로 슈에 웬다 선생님의 두 손녀분들이 자리에 함께 하고 계십니다. 대만의 최초 비행사 쉐 웬다의 손녀이신 쉐 안리 선생님이 같이 하고 계시고, 또한 자매이신 화 소니아 여사께서 같이 하고 계십니다. 그럼 대만의 최초 비행사 쉐 웬다의 손녀인 쉐 안리 님을 무대로 모시겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Thank you for honoring my grandfather. Before I start, I have prepared 18 DVDs of Anchang Nan and my grandfather, and they're to be given away free. So if any of you would be interested, please come to Kenny after the speech. Okay, I was told that I don't have much time, so I'm going to skip Taiwanese history. Okay, and this is my grandfather's chronology, and he was born in 1901, and which is the same year that Anchang Nan was born. And then he was, my grandfather was homeschooled by his grandfather, so he had very solid classical Chinese education. And then he went to elementary school and then middle school. Just during his middle school, R. Smith came to Taiwan, and he was fascinated by him, and he swore he must fly as well. And this is his first picture, and the old man sitting there is my grandfather's grandfather, and my grandfather was maybe 10 years old. He's not very happy. He's clenching his fist, and the baby is his uncle, you know. The grandfather's grandfather married a concubine, and the concubine gave birth to a baby. This is the first picture of my grandfather. And then this is an example picture of sugar mill, which is the business my great-grandfather was doing. Okay, and this is my grandfather when he was 14 years old in high school. And this is R. Smith. Okay, after seeing R. Smith, he was so determined that he wanted to learn to fly. So, but his parents are against it because it's too dangerous. So he started to starve himself, to force his parents to comply. And finally, on the 5th day of his starvation, his parents comply, and my great-grandfather had to sell a lot of land to support him. And then he went to Edo Aviation School. And this is the principal, the founder of Edo School. And this is the workshop of Edo. And this is the third person from the right is my grandfather. And this is, he won his first prize, and he got a third place at a competition. And his his picture was on a magazine, and this is what he wrote, Chinese calligraphy, fly, for the magazine. And this is his airplane. Okay. This is another competition of special technique. This is my grandfather is the second from the right, and this is a group of students at Edo, and the young man leaning backwards is his flight instructor who died at 23. In those years, pilots usually die young. And that's his airplane. Another picture of his airplane. And he did the most famous, like An昌Nan, you know, the first flight in Taiwan. He came home and he did it in 1920. And this is another picture of him traveling inland Japan. And this is my grandfather before his airplane in 1920. And this is another 1920 first flight in Taiwan. And he's the person in the middle. Okay. And he did a speech at Taipei. And he impressed the prince, the prince of Japan, the brother of the emperor, gave him a silver cup. There's one thing in common between Taiwan and Korea, which is both countries are subjugated by the colonial Japan. However, there's a difference, which is Korea wants independence as well, but for my grandfather and his movement, they want only autonomy, the civil right for the Taiwanese people. Okay, my grandfather's purpose is to wake up the Taiwanese soul, and we demand to be treated equal. We demand that we are not second-class people. And it is, in 1921, my grandfather befriended An昌Nan in Kokuri's airfield, and the friendship hit off right away because of similar background, because of the passion for flying, and also because of the resentment against colonial Japan. And in the meantime, they also competed in 1922. They passed a competition of Tokyo to Osaka mail flight without landing, and only 8 pilots passed. An昌Nan and my grandfather were 2 of them. Okay, that's a picture of. And in 1922, An昌Nan went back to Korea to do his first flight in Korea. I missed one thing, that my grandfather and An昌Nan both were one of the first people who got pilot license in Japan. An昌Nan's license is number 3. My grandfather's is number 5, because there is no number 4. I noticed there is no 4th floor in this hotel either, so because 4 is unlucky word. So yeah, so that's why my grandfather got number 5. And here is my father's recount of Anchang Nan. Can somebody help me to play it?
安昌男所工作的地方是国立飞行学校，他那个地方离东京很近，经常有很多的观光客到他的机场来请这个机场派飞行员在他们做东京上空的游览飞行，业务相当的好。我父亲所工作的学校伊藤呢，它的机场离东京很远，所以呢，对于这个东京观光的空中试验远不如小丽那么好，所以我父亲在猜想，安昌男的收入一定很高，一定相当的不错。可是我父亲后来看到安昌男在生活上很节俭，于是我父亲就想到，很可能安昌男把他的钱省下来，捐给朝鲜独立运动。安昌男有没有女朋友呢？我父亲曾经问过安昌男，你有没有看到过？但是安昌男表情黯然的跟我父亲轻微的摇摇头。
This is 1923. This is shortly before his scattering flyers in the sky of Tokyo. And February 1923, my grandfather scattered flyers in the sky of Tokyo to protest the dictatorship over Taiwanese people. And here is the Japanese one, and here is English. Reject the governor's dictatorship. Demand the forming of Parliament of Taiwan. Here's a Korean. Okay, after scattering of flyers in Tokyo, the governor of Taiwan, Dan Kenjiro, was very angry. He was badly offended. Therefore, he blacklisted my grandfather, and my grandfather couldn't find any job in Japan and Taiwan. And eventually, he had to flee to Manchuria to seek shelter from his uncle. That was at the end of 23. And this is a picture, family picture, my grandfather and his uncle's family in Manchuria. He started a taxi business in Tianjin, but didn't work well, so he returned to Manchuria. And in the same year, he started working for Feng Yuxiang. Feng Yuxiang is a northern warlord. But in the same year, he also wrote a paper advocating feminism. And this is he, and then the next year, in 1925, he joined Chiang Kai-shek's force because about a year and a half after he joined Feng Yuxiang was wiped out by Chiang Kai-shek. And so he had to work for Chiang Kai-shek. And they are all warlords. So both the Taiwanese and the Korean pilots, they were mercenaries. And it is their last resort to work for the warlords because they cannot go back to their country. Okay, while working for Chiang Kai-shek gave him a sword. And in about 1928, Anchang Nan came to Beijing, and through the president of Tsinghua University, Cao Yunxiang, I don't know if you know about Tsinghua University, it is probably the highest university in China, and anyway, through him, Anchang Nan was referred to Hsieh, who's a warlord of Shanxi. And Yan liked Anchang Nan very much, and he put him in a very high position. So when Anchang Nan was stationed in Taiyuan, Shanxi Taiyuan, he exchanged letters with my grandfather, who was working for Chiang Kai-shek at that time. And my grandfather wrote that good birds always should choose good trees to perch. 良群择木而栖, and therefore, Anchang Nan, you have such a high quality. You shouldn't be working with a small warlord. You should come to Chiang Kai-shek's regime. However, Anchang Nan replied, although he knew Yan Xishan didn't look good, Yan Xishan was about to lose, he must have known this, but regardless, he said, General Yan has been so nice to me, I cannot abandon him. Let's serve different lords. Okay, here is.
在1929年左右，我父亲知道安昌南在蒋介石死对头阎锡山的下面当的飞行员。我父亲曾经写一封信给安昌南，希望安昌南能够到国民革命军，也就是蒋介石的阵营方面来。但是安昌南回信里说，阎锡山长官对他恩重如山，我不能在他危险的时候离开他而去，我们各为其主吧。然后在1930年初的时候我父亲出任务要到山西太原去侦察，结果在半路上就看见阎锡山所有的飞机，我父亲追上去，但是我父亲突然之间灵光一闪，安昌南说不定是这架飞机的驾驶了，于是我父亲把飞机飞得很近，同时为了使对方能够看得清楚，他把他脸上的防风镜拿下来，同时向他做了一个手势，就是Jogi Gu Pa。到过日本常住的人都知道，这是日本人喝酒的时候用的哈拉 K。结果对方看见我父亲做这种手势，对方也同样做Jogi Gu Pa。我父亲说啊，那就是安昌南。同时，安昌南也把他的防风镜脱下来，然后两个人在空中摇摆双翅，表示致敬。我父亲向安昌南比一个手势，你能跟我往南飞吗？然后安昌南做一个否定的手势，他说我要前进。然后我父亲就陪着安昌南飞了大概5-6分钟，抵达了太原的机场，也就是安昌南的机场之后，我父亲向他摇摆双 他也向我父亲摇摆双臂，我父亲就回这个他的原来的基础。这是我父亲最后一次跟安昌男见面。
The next year, my grandparents got married, and then my father was born, and then this is my.
你第一次听到安昌男这名字是几岁？什么时候？你还记得吗？
我那个时候年纪很小，我记不大清楚。我只知道我妈生我的时候是难产，在一家医院里面。那我父亲呢，在1930年呢，作战的时候坠机，受重伤，也在那家医院里面。就是我妈妈跟我讲，有一天呢，我父亲的伤势比较好一点了，到另外一个病房，我妈妈的病房去看我妈妈。那个时候我父亲满脸的泪痕，一直流泪。那我妈妈问他，你为什么哭？他说他的好朋友去世了。我妈妈说，我妈妈是第一次看到我父亲在痛苦流泪。后来在我14、15岁的时候，我懂得事情了，我父亲才跟我讲其中详细的经过。
Well, during in that era, Chiang Kai-shek, okay. My grandfather's superiors are not very happy, are not very comfortable about his Taiwanese identity. And this discomfort grew stronger when China and Japan's conflict become escalated. Okay, this is in Manchuria. Then they started to suspect him. Okay, much later we realized that the blue shirts are Chiang Kai-shek's intelligent squad. I mean, like KGB, Chiang Kai-shek's KGB. And their principle is it's better to wrongfully kill 100 than to let a guilty one escape. And during this era, the massive majority of Taiwanese are suspected.
当时国民党的秘密警察的主事叫做蓝一社，蓝一社怀疑我父亲对中国的忠诚，对我父亲安定做了许多次的调查。蓝医生应当要叫我父亲去询问才对，可是他们从来没有叫我父亲去询问，这是暗地里调查。这一点我父亲非常不解。后来我父亲才了解，因为他是台湾人，我父亲是台湾人的关系富有原罪。
Okay, during this period, a lot of Korean pilots were also arrested by blue shirts, and one of them was Kwon Ki-ok, and she was put in prison for 8 months, and eventually she was bailed out by Kim Koo. Okay, and this is about Kwon Ki-ok. Skip, I'm running out of time, and here is our escape to Shanghai.
我父亲在航空队，那时候翻译的职务很重要，他是作战参谋。可是 队作战参谋调到航空署里面一个很不重要的地位，等于是做人板凳。经过了一段时间之后，上一届示意叫我父亲第10层辞职。我父亲还不死心，还上书航空署，表明他对国家的忠诚。可是在这个时候，我父亲的同事就跑来告诉我父亲，赶快离开南京这个是非之地，我们已经联署的签名保证的都没有效，你不离开南京，你会有生命的危险。但是这并不是最主要的原因，最主要的原因是林木生的事件。我的祖父是台湾人，在南京的台湾人林木生的恩人。林木生被蓝色抓去驱打，命令他要伪证我父亲是日本的间谍。如果他不伪证的话，他要把林木生干掉。所以林木生在苦刑之下，为了保命不得已，把我父亲拖下水，说他的上司是谢文达，做情报工作，然后刚才才被蓝色放出来。谢老先生，你以前对我恩重如山，我不能够如此的恩将仇报，所以我冒死前来告诉你，马上赶快离开南京，不然的话，大祸就要临头。这个时候，我们谢家如梦初醒，恍然大悟。我们离开我们南京家的时候，可以说什么东西都没有带，尤其是最具纪念性的很多照片要忘记带。我们本来准备坐火车去的，后来我的祖父说，我们改坐船。如果改坐船的话，箱子里面的东西可以装多一点，所以我们就改坐这个长江的轮船到上海，在上海的华界曹家渡住下。我们全家都被改成姓张，我们是姓谢，我们为了逃命，我们改成姓张，在上海苟延残存。后来我父亲找的一样差事，就是卖汽车的零件。这个事业使得我们家赚了钱，赚了不少。
好，
那个时候，我家住在上海的英国租界，在1948年的冬天晚上，我父亲参加一个晚宴回来，刚刚走到家门口，就被日本的便衣宪兵押上汽车，然后这个汽车就开到日本租界，到这个日本驻上海总领事馆的海军武官府，那是日本的一个情报机关。在这个办公室里面，坐在办公室上，坐在办公桌后面的是我父亲在日本认识的老朋友，他叫做司港，现在他的官阶已经是海军上校，他担任上海日本海军武官府的武官长。他见了我父亲，很严厉地问我父亲：谢文达，日本到底什么地方得罪你？你为什么要叛变跑到中国去？我父亲没有说话，然后他又说：你知道吗？在日本方面，你是叛国者，同时也违反了叫做 后备军人法。在中国方面，蒋介石的蓝色 KTV 认为你是汉奸，也要你的命。现在中日两国都要你的命，你想想你的处境，能够救你的只有日本，但是你要答应某种条件。我父亲不讲话，于是熹赫就扔了一本册子给我父亲看，你看看这个你就知道了。那个册子的名称是《除奸录》，我父亲写的第一名谢文达。在这下面的备注栏里有写，查该人尚无明确的通敌证据以暂缓执行。后面大概有将近30个人的备注栏上都在写了某年某月某日已经执行了。我父亲看的是目瞪口呆，跟话不说。我们日本能够抓到你，也是靠这种册子。这是中国对你的一种回报。你对中国那么效忠，结果还是中国出来的。那现在，你如果想活的话，你要答应日本方面派给你的任务，就是你要到傀儡政权去做事情。你愿意去吗？我父亲不讲话，就表示没有办法。我父亲说过，他心里难过的不得了。然后熹赫又说：“你上有父母，下有妻儿，你都不考虑吗？”就问我父亲也不讲话。后来熹赫又问我父亲一句：“你现在还在抗日吗？”我父亲也不回话。这个时候 OK 了，就说谢文达沉默无言，就表示他现在不抗日，这个没有问题。然后熹赫就说：“你能够到中国的方面工作吗？也就是说，为日本工作的傀儡政府吗？”我父亲说：“这个有难处，你叫我以后有什么人见你，我很抱歉，我不能。”然后熹赫就说：“为了表示你不是抗日，你愿不愿意到刚刚成立的叫做中华航空株式会社上海支社，现在还欠你的支社长，我派你去担任中华航空株式会社上海支社的支社长，你答应吗？”这是一个民间性的组织，跟政治无关。在这种条件之下，我父亲只好答应了。这个工作一直做到1945年8月，二战终了为止。我父亲是全身而退，回到台湾。
My grandfather used to compare himself to Garuda, a mystical bird that never dies, and he said it's a curse. And I remember distinctly when I was in my late teens, when I was in high school, he said, "I wish I died young." Because when the decision was so painful, and what can he choose? A motherland who wants him dead, or the survival of his family? And this is the story of my grandfather. Thank you.